All right. First question, obviously. What made you want to become a pro wrestler?
Yeah, so I used to watch it growing up with my brother. So I kind of got into it when I first saw like Team Extreme and Lita. And that's really what drew me in because you don't really see, like, if you're a tomboy, girls that portray who you are. So that's kind of how I first got interested in it. But then there was a time period where I kind of fell off from it, and then I got back into it when NXT did a Texas tour, and I saw Enzo and Cass. And when they came out, like I had no idea who they were because I was not watching the product at all. But when they came out and he started doing his whole "My name is Enzo Amore," and literally the whole building was like mocking him, I'm like, whoa, that's power. I need that. Um, and so that kind of drew me back in. So after I graduated college, I found a wrestling school here in San Antonio, and that's kind of how it all began.
Is that why you call yourself the main character? Because you also needed that power?
Exactly. I mean, if Kristen Stewart can be a main character, I can be a main character.
Exactly. So you talk about obviously you found the school in San Antonio. You've been heavily involved in Mission Pro since your debut, and we all know that's ran by Thunder Rosa and her husband. What's it like working in Mission Pro with such inspiring, powerful people?
At first, it was very daunting because it was Mission Pro was literally like my first independent match, my first independent show. And they put me against Jazz on my first match. So it was daunting. But now I feel like I've gotten into a kind of complacent spot because it's more like a family with these people. Like seeing them, being around them, it's not as like on edge now because they are like a family at this point. I've been around them. I train with them sometimes, so it's not as daunting. But then like thinking back and like in hindsight, it is pretty crazy. I have to keep reminding myself like who Thunder Rosa is. Like she's not just the girl that I train with sometimes or that gives me advice. Like she's Thunder Rosa. And this is Mission Pro. And I have to kind of remind myself how lucky I am to be on a platform like that. One of the first, and I would say one of the better run all female promotions or female emphasized. I'm not sure what they're saying with JP Harlow being there now.
What would you say is the best advice that Thunder gave you?
Um, I think probably, I don't know. I think I was on Busted Open with her the other day, and she was telling me, she was just kind of reassuring, like, it is timing. So just kind of keep going like that. She told me that I was good. No, she, no, she just she's constantly like reminding me like it's not something to take personal, that you just have to keep like doing you. Like you have something, but you just have to keep on going, because it isn't ever personal. Sometimes it is literally just about timing, or what they need or things like that. So you can't let it like get to your mental space.
I like that. See, she can give good advice. I like it. Now, I want to talk about your gear for a second because your gear, it makes you stand out because it's half short, half pants type thing. I really don't know how to describe it. How'd you come up with that?
Yeah. So when I was growing up, the sport of choice, I guess, in a sense, was running. I did a lot of track and cross country. And there was a woman who ran track who was kind of like beyond her time, super fast, but super, um, I don't even know what the word is, but she basically, instead of wearing the typical track outfits, had her own type of outfit. And it was always the one long pant leg, the short pant leg. And her name was Flojo. And so, with that background, when I came into wrestling, I always knew that that was something that I wanted to do. And then coupled with the fact that, again, tomboy, I wasn't always comfortable like showing the world my whole butt cheek. So, uh, so the pant leg is also a not only fashion but security.
Were you a distance runner or were you a sprinter?
It started off with distance mainly, with cross country, and then when I started to get into like my high school years, it was like 4x4, 800, so like mid distance after that, but
Justice for the
hated
track
those.
people. Hell yeah. You
Those are
hated
so,
it.
it's so stressful because like at that time, like the 800 was like a 2 lap sprint.
That is true. You have to learn your pace yourself, which
Yeah, it just, and people just kept getting faster. I'm like, dang. It's crazy.
I love that. It's just like these people. God damn
Yeah.
it. Stop getting fast.
Slow down. What happened to pacing yourself on the first lap and then turning on the second? No, we're just going the whole time. Okay.
Exactly. I understand your pain. So you made your official debut, like you said, against Jazz right before the pandemic, and then the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
So, and you were locked inside until the indie started opening up in the summer. What did that do for your mentality? Just you made it, you did it, and it's like, oh man, now we're stuck.
um, I think it it was not too bad because everyone was like in the same boat. I feel like it would have been different, like when I got injured and I was out and everyone just kept going. Like no one was going. So it wasn't like I had to sit there and like watch everyone surpass me because literally like no one was going anywhere. But it was weird to start that momentum and then just have it halted, especially when we were like, 2 weeks, this will be done in 2 weeks. We're fine. Everything will be back to normal. And then like months go by. So I think that mental aspect was just crazy, thinking that the world was in a whole pandemic. But wrestling wise, I don't think it was too bad. It was weird to get back in the swing of things because being off that long, even the wrestling schools were closed. So like when we came back, when they opened back up, we were like, because no one knew what was actually happening. No one knew what COVID-19 actually was at that time. So when the wrestling schools started opening, we had like split shifts. So typically training is like 3 hours long. Instead, we were doing two 1.5 hour shifts. And so like half the people would come at this time, half the people would come at this time. There was no contact. And it was just like rolls and cardio and stuff. And coming back after the pandemic, it almost murdered me. I think that was the first time I've ever thrown up during a workout just because my body's like equilibrium from like not having rolled or like done anything like that, just doing like front rolls and back rolls and all the rolls. And my body was like, yeah, no, girl, you've been sitting on the couch eating flautas for the past 3 months.
I wasn't ready for this. I wasn't ready for the comeback.
He was not.
So fast forward a little bit. You recently won gold. Congratulations.
Thank you.
One half of the NWA Tag Team Champions with Missa Kate. What was winning gold like in a prominent company mean like for you? Because that's a big deal.
Yeah, I feel like it'll hit me when we finally get to like defend them. As of right now, it kind of feels a little bit surreal because it all happened so fast, but it was cool because it felt like my own little NWA version of like Money in the Bank. I got to cash in my championship series, I guess, title match, and we won in like 30 seconds. Uh, so it was a little bit surreal to not have to fight too hard, considering the last time me and Missa Kate fought for those titles, it didn't end the best. But I feel like it'll hit me once her and I go back out with the titles. Um, but as for right now, it's a little surreal still.
What's it like having Missa as your tag team partner? I mean, that must be cool because you've done it before.
Yeah, it's she keeps it interesting. Um, we're like the same, but we're different. Like we're both very tomboy-esque, her a little bit more than me. And she definitely is from Chicago. She is like the epitome of everyone that I've ever seen portrayed from Chicago. So me being from Texas, it's a little bit different, but it's great. She is a wrestling nerd down to the core. So it's fun to have someone who is just an ample of knowledge and always is trying to better themselves. Um, yeah, I'm excited to see because both of us have had success as a singles wrestler, and now we're gonna come together and try and do the tag thing. So I'm
I
excited.
mean, it's working so
Yes,
far.
it has so far. So hopefully that momentum keeps going.
You had a lot of momentum heading into this year with Sean Ross Sapp, amongst a lot of other people, saying that your potential is there, that he, as well as a lot of other people, want you to get signed if that's something that you want to do. Is that something you're looking to do? Get a long-term deal at a company?
I mean, that would be like nice. It'd be fun to get paid like a sustainable living to do this, or at least like get paid to be a part of something, like a storyline. I think that's always been my biggest thing, just with wrestling. And I'm sure you know, as a wrestling fan, the things we love about wrestling isn't necessarily like the 450 splashes or like all of the crazy moves. It's like the storylines that go into it. Like everyone and their mom is raving and ranting about the Bloodline storyline right now, especially when the Rumble was happening, and everyone's invested in Sammy. And so it's like you couldn't. Well, I'm sure some people could tell us what happened during the match, but it was like the emotion that it made you feel, and like that's why I like wrestling, like the power that Enzo and them had, but also just like the different moments in wrestling, the way that seeing Lita made me feel like a tomboy, someone that I could relate to, like having that. I would like to do that because that's what got me really invested into wrestling. It definitely wasn't the moves.
And just think, you and Lita are both now tag team champions at different companies.
Wow,
That's a
it's
full circle.
the world.
Now, there's a lot of companies out there. The indie circuit is just booming. Is there a dream match you want to have potentially with anybody?
Oh, I mean, I would definitely like to make my way up to Defy. I feel like Vert Vixen, she was down here in Texas. She is down here in Texas, yet she's defending and like getting belts up there. I'm like, girl, why did you have to leave Texas to go get belts? So I'm not saying that they're not as good as us down here, but I definitely need to go up there. If she's getting belts up there, that means I
I mean, I just worked with her and she was like, look at my
can.
titles. And I was like, yes, girl.
Exactly. Exactly. But she had to go all the way up to like Washington to get them. Like, I'm not saying anything, but like sips tea.
Now, one of my favorite things that you do is side character spotlight. And I'm just like, oh my God, these are so funny every single week. How did you come up with that? And how do you just like, how do you do it? Like, wow.
So it initially sparked I guess the idea. Because I've been around Kylan King like way too much. And so every time she's announced as the motherfucking king. And I was like, the motherfucking king. Like, what does that actually mean? Because for me, I'm just like one of those weird people, like when people cuss, like 95% of the time, it doesn't make sense, including myself. And so like I like to try and break the words down. And so at the base level, the motherfucking king, um, it's a king that fucks mothers. And so in my mind, I was like, in my mind, I was like, well, what does that even mean? And I really enjoy like some SNL skits, and I enjoy like the TikToks where they like interview people just to see how they'll react. So and I wanted to ask her like what that actually meant. And I wanted to ask her how many mothers she's fucked because that's literally her moniker. So that's what sparked the idea for it, honestly. Uh, and then it just kind of kept going. I think the way I do it, sometimes it comes very easily, comes very natural. Some people's monikers I just like to pick apart because again, I take things at base level and it can be funny at that point. Uh, but other times it's a little bit of research, but mainly it's just kind of back and forth. And then if they say something that like triggers something in my brain, then at that point it just goes.
And I mean, you have your cue cards, which is your hand.
Yes, exactly. It's like disappearing ink. It's crazy.
It's very professional, I must say. Like 10 out of 10.
Yeah, and I'm saving paper, reusable. So,
Exactly. You can't get rid of skin. Like, smart.
well,
Well, I
no,
mean,
all
you
I have to do
can.
is wash it. Yeah, I was gonna say,
Like, scientifically, you can, but like,
and
I don't
like
know.
horror movie-esque, you can. But
Yes, I mean, I've been watching you on Netflix, so you just have Joe Goldberg come out here, and it's like,
exactly, you're done.
do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Um, I mean, follow me. I'm just kidding.
Yes.
No, but I appreciate you interviewing me, I guess, getting my information.
Of course.